It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinnie Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
So here we be. Another Wednesday evening, Cats Talk Wednesday, coming to you courtesy of the BS3 Network. Follow them on BS3 Network, BS3 Sports. Terry T.B. Brown, his band of renown. My name is Vinnie Hardy. Bring y'all a quick pre-Louisville episode. TB, man, how we doing?
We're doing good, man. I'm ready. Got my game plan ready. We're hosting the Thanksgiving holiday tomorrow. A little bit different because when I'm not hosting, I got a whole game plan on them sides. See, this is what you do. When you go someplace, you show up, you start helping out in the kitchen, right? You start setting stuff to the side. Show up with your own Ziploc bag. Show up with your own stuff, right? So it's a little, it's a little bit more inconspicuous than you get in a plate if you already bring your stuff in. But doing good, man. Doing good. Good to be here.
So you act like you contributing as you actually
correct.
Removing.
That's correct.
And
that's correct.
Accruing items for later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you act like you're helping out when you're actually squirreling. I got
That's right.
That's stashing. All right, man.
And be thankful.
For sure. For sure. So, man, we're here for another quick episode. Cats playing the Cards. It's going down in your city Saturday. We got basketball and football overlapping. It's that time of year. Your 49ers have gotten themselves right. So, but I guess, first thing we got to hit the ugly first. The bad loss to South Carolina, even though there's been basketball games since then, but that was rough.
That's a bad loss, man. And I don't know how Stoops gets this right. I think getting Kentucky to this point was a minor miracle from where it was and historically what it has been. But it seems as if, you and I talked about this before, and 8-4 or 7-5 feels okay to me. However, the fine print on that is, how did you look getting there? And the last couple of seasons, we've just been dreadful in the losses.
Mm-hmm.
And losing South Carolina, all respect to the other Katie, South Carolina was a terrible football team. They gave up like 30-something points to Jacksonville State in 14. This was just an all-systems failure. It just no kind of continuity. The defense played good enough. The offense couldn't capitalize, and it's like we've talked about before, that game pressure. If we could have put another touchdown on the board, that puts pressure on them because they went with that quarterback that couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't capitalize on that, on the good field position. This is just a bad loss. And you can say losing to Georgia and Alabama, I think we all had those as two losses. But they just look so uninspired. And you see what Missouri has done. We had put Missouri in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
And now Missouri is taking the spot that we kind of thought we would fall into because, again, I think it was safe to say that in the SEC East, as it was safe to say we were number 2.
Yep.
Head-to-head better than the others. And Tennessee, our overall record was better, even though they were still beating us head-to-head. So I don't think it was outlandish to say they were number 2. But now we're number 5.
3-5, 2 years in a row.
I mean,
yeah.
That, and then, I never like to give credence to this, but all we're doing is beating bad teams. Correction, we're beating terrible teams, but we're still losing to bad teams. Vanderbilt last year, not great. So So I tweeted this after the game. It's fair to say, because, I know you saw this discourse between Coach Cal defenders and Coach Stoops defenders or whatever, right? Well, it's fair to say the last 2 to 3 seasons for both have not been up to their relative expectations, right? And you have to say relative expectations, because if Coach Cal goes 500 in the SEC or below 500, his pass does not work to get into the Kraft Center, the next day. Like so it's relative, right? So relatively, they've been disappointing the last couple of years. So you have to ask yourself, moving forward, is it likely that Cal can turn it around? And this season, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Number 1 recruiting class, the good showing against Kansas. We're seeing his offensive philosophy change a little bit. It looks like Cal has made that change. The question is, can Stoops? And that's what, I was saying earlier. If you say it was a minor miracle to get Kentucky to this level, which I think it kind of was, how is he going to get to the part where he's even 500 against good teams? That's the challenge. This team has looked undisciplined and unfocused for most of the last couple of seasons. It's just that simple. The biggest issue for Stoops' tenure, and friend of the show, Dick Gabriel, you've been on this show, I've been on. He had a nice post breaking down the Kentucky quarterback situation and how we have not got a dude on campus and developed him into a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And so you find yourself renting from year to year, and it's hard to build anything if that's your thing.
Yeah. And it shouldn't matter, but these wins over Florida, you beat Florida, and then I hope last year, and I hope that this year, I hope Florida goes on to have a good year. And they haven't. They end up being, I think they're 5-5 or 5-6. They're down there at the bottom as well. So that kind of takes some of the shine away. You look at the South Carolina game, every time they did anything, which has been the case all year, you mentioned the discipline. You make a good play, well, it's coming back because of a penalty. The defense, should you win a game if you hold a team to 17 points? Yeah, you probably should. But then when Kentucky gets the lead, they're down 10-0, they get the 14-10 lead. The money drive where you need to stop them, you can't stop them. And they committed penalties. They've shot themselves in the foot. They had 3rd and 20s and whatever and was converting them, and you still couldn't stop them. They weren't like lighting it up. They was trying to screw up, and we wouldn't let them.
And it goes back to what you and I have talked about for a long time. Whatever your team is, what is your calling card? What is your identity? And the football team the last couple of years hasn't had it. It was defense, holding teams to under 30 points, whatever that streak was.
Yeah.
But how many 3rd and longs have they given up this year? It seems like they can't get off the field. Even against, some of those games they should have, they did win earlier in the season. They still couldn't get off the field. And so it was defense and it was running the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened with Ray Davis this year, but for him to only have 12 carries against South Carolina, who couldn't stop the run, what are we doing?
And we were in Columbia Saturday. Our niece, who's more like a daughter, I don't have any daughters, but she's the closest thing to a daughter I'm going to have is our niece. She was 2 when we got married. She's 25 now. She's married, got a 2-year-old of her own. That's how crazy this is. They live outside of Savannah. So Columbia is kind of about the halfway point for us and them. Met over there for the day, had lunch, went and played putt, went to the arcade, did stuff with our boys and their little boy, went to the back cage, that kind of thing. Thought about, do we want to just go ahead and just go grab a ticket or just, go over there and like my dad would just show up and just haggle with people and, right before kickoff, get a ticket and go in. Do we want to just pull the old Melvin Hardy trick and just run over to Williams Bryce? Thought about it and I was like, nah, we ain't gonna do it. And so listening to Tom Leach and Jeff Picoro, both of them on here, listen to the broadcast on the way back home. And I'm listening, I'm like, what's Ramon Jefferson for the carry? Okay, all right. Where's Ray at? Ramon Jefferson, blah, blah, blah. Well, where's Ray? And so Jeremy Jarman is doing the sideline in place of our guy Dick Gabriel because he's recuperating from the bypass surgery that he had. And I hear Jeremy say, well, Ray is fine. He's up here standing at the 40-yard line talking with the coaches. I'm like, what? And so, as you're listening on the radio, you paint it in your mind as much as you can because they're, based on what you're hearing. And so, the YouTube guy that puts all the games up, I watched it on YouTube that Sunday or Monday, whenever it came out. And so I watch him on the 31-yard run where he goes spin cycle, embarrasses homeboy and takes it to the house. And that run compared to the work he did against Florida, he got to the end zone. I know we're on the road, but he didn't do this to the Carolina crowd. He didn't do nothing. It's like he wasn't even fired up. It was almost like Barry Sanders. Look, we saw Barry Sanders score. He would give the ball to the ref every time. Barry wasn't celebrating. Barry was just going to give it to the ref and go to the huddle. That's kind of what Ray did. It was like he was disconnected. It's like he wasn't really in it. And then you go back to the 3 or 4 touchdowns he had against Florida. He was working the crowd. He got to the end zone. The guys was around him. I'm like, what? What's happened? What's going on? The chemistry. You saw the tweet of his that got deleted. It is what it is. I thought I was the bell cow when now Ramon Jefferson getting carries. And so it's stuff ain't right over there, man.
And yeah, and that's the challenge is can Stoops rebuild again?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to ask yourself. And look, as everybody knows, you either as a coach, you either get fired or you leave on your own. Like very few coaches ride off into the sunset. And so we as Kentucky fans need to get past this. He's our all-time winningest coach. True. Be that as it may, Alabama got Bear Bryant out of town. Florida State got Bobby Bowden out of town. Woody Hayes, it helped when he choked a kid. He got run out of town. Like, that happens. It absolutely happens. Kentucky fans, we told Adolph Rupp it was time. He didn't leave on his own.
Yeah, sure didn't.
Right? So, that's what makes Coach K so unusual.
Your last title was in 58, bro. So
in 66 was your last Final Four.
Yeah.
And we friends here, Vinny. And you lost to them Negroes in 66. But the point is, there's very few happy endings, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are. Pat Riley, 4 titles in LA. Had to go, like, it just happens, right? Mm-hmm. Joe Torre at the end of his Yankees run, right? So
Bill Belichick getting there.
Hey.
Are they trying to let him break Schuler's record first or what? But he getting there.
Hey. It sounds crazy, right? But you would think 6 Super Bowls. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole thing is there has to be monumental change. do as a program, like I think Stoops has earned next year as a show me year. I think he has earned that.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, dude, we got to have some conversations. And, we're talking on Spaces last night, and I've been tweeting people like, well, Stoops can take that on to Iowa. No, the hell he cannot. Like, what? Listen. I don't know what people think Iowa football is. It's better than Kentucky. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember a couple years ago when we played Iowa in the Citrus Bowl?
Yep.
And it was a big deal because we were good, they were good, right? Iowa is 9-2 right now, number 17 in the CFP. They are going back to a similar bowl, if not the Citrus Bowl. And what are we doing? In the short term and in the long term, Iowa is better. They've got a better brand. You talked about before we got on here. You got George Kittle talking about tight end U with Dallas Clark, TJ Hawkinsmith, like Sam Laporta up in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Heisman Trophy winners. They've had double the All-Americans. Kentucky's been to 12 bowl games total?
Yeah.
Something like that. Iowa's going to its 23rd in 25 years under Ferentz. No, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling people if Kentucky could do what Iowa has done, Stoops would be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Beating Louisville 8 out of 10 times. Period. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Beating Florida and Tennessee 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, because that's what Ferentz has done at Iowa. Beat Iowa State, beat Nebraska, beat Minnesota for the Pig Trophy, Floyd of Rosedale. Like, he wins those games, right? They always finish near the top of the Big Ten. I know it's not the SEC, but you got that. You're competitive against Michigan.
Yeah.
Iowa's won 6 out of the last 10.
Against Michigan?
Against Michigan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. 6 out of 10 against Michigan. And, a few seasons ago, they boat raced Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only win in the last 10. I think they maybe won 2 of 10 against Ohio State. But when is the last time Kentucky's ever boat raced one of the top teams in the SEC? Ever? I mean, Iowa beat Ohio State 55-17.
Mm-hmm.
That was November of 2017.
Because I watched it and was enjoying it. Everybody outside of Columbia, up in Columbus, was enjoying it. I mean,
Speaking of November 2017, that was the last time Louisville football beat Kentucky football. And as I reminded some of my Louisville folks, do you know how long ago that was? That was November 17, 2017 is where I met my wife for the first time. So since Louisville has beat Kentucky in football, this is what happened. I met my wife. We courted, got engaged, tweet went viral, got married, celebrated 2 years of wedded bliss, had one cross-country move, sold 2 additional properties. Look, it's been a while, Louisville fans. Y'all might get us on Saturday, but it's been a while. But they can. But people are like, oh, Stoops, I will take them. No, the hell they won't, man. Like, there's a reason Iowa is what it is. There's a reason.
Man. Yeah, these past 2 years, like you said, this is got some soul searching, got some tinkering, and like you said, the defense now that's even crumbling. Yeah, it's 6 and 5 ain't where everybody thought they would be. Like you said,
and it's how they get there, man. Like, look, I think as a sports fan, if you to me again, this is not accepting mediocrity, right? This is just the way the world works. If I lose against a dude that gives a historical performance, okay, right? I think back to Dwayne Wade and Marquette in 2003. Like Dwayne Wade hitting a triple double, Hall of Fame. In his resume, okay, like that's just how the game's played, man. Like sometimes that just happens. But I'm like, Missouri didn't do nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee wasn't special.
Yeah.
And South Carolina damn sure wasn't special enough to be this disheartened. And then you throw in Georgia and Alabama, and it's just, it's just disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
I think Stoops has a tough road to hoe when you look back at the pony up comment.
Yeah.
There's a way you can talk about we need to improve our players without throwing your current players on the bus. Cal's been very good at it. Like it's been clear the last couple of seasons, the talent hasn't been what it usually is top to bottom at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
He's talked about improving the roster without throwing the current players under the bus. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's part of the issue as well, but they've been undisciplined for the last couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And, it started with, beating their chest about is Kentucky a football or basketball school? Like the fact we had to engage in that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But it's even more dumb because Cal's back on it and you're not. And look, I want the football program to do well. But I understand everybody starts feeling themselves, but schools are known for what they're known for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. I have people around town when I got my Kentucky stuff, they'll ask about Stoops because he played at Iowa. It's not because they're following Kentucky football.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky basketball, everybody knows that's a known commodity.
Right.
That's just what it is. So Stoops has got a tough road to hoe to get this back together because with the transfer portal, he got to keep his current recruits. He's got to keep these dudes on the roster. And what are they going to do for quarterback next year?
Yeah, it's that's like you said, Dick Gabriel put that piece up. I think Aaron Gershon wrote a piece. Like the constant renting, having to go to the portal. I think only if I saw it, 9 games or something that have been started by a Kentucky high school quarterback. You had Drew Barker and Tolles early that played some games, and then you had to go to Steven Johnson and Terry Wilson and Levis and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's an issue. And 6 or 7 offensive coordinator hires. Neil Brown, Shannon Dawson, Scangarello, Cohen Lees. Yeah, so a lot of inconsistency there on that side. I know he's a defensive guy, but no continuity, no stability. Every couple of years you're making a change over there.
Oh, looks like we're gonna go all red. The cards are gonna go all red. Oh. Are we going all blue?
We gotta see what the UK equipment tweets talking about Twitter. Let's see. That's what you've been advocating that for years.
Yeah, because what USC and UCLA have done across the board, it pops, man. That red versus blue just pops. I've been wanting them to do that for a long time. But look, football, we got to get it together, right? We got to convert this and get this together, because it's a chance that it could be, kind of back at square one.
Yeah. Well, they haven't tweeted out what they're wearing this Saturday yet. So, but hopefully they will go all blue. That'd be great. And to their credit, Brom and them are I've said it every time we do our picks. You plan to do in his first year, beat him, jump on him. You supposed to have your stuff together in year 8, 9, 10, 11. He's just now getting started over there. Now, every situation is different. You get Joker Phillips coming in his first year. It ain't, cupboard is bare, no talent. Everybody's situation different. Some guys are able to come into a good situation. But it's still your first year over there. And to their credit, he's 10-1. And I laughed at whoever, Bruce Feldman, Brett McMurphy, who tweeted out, Vegas had Louisville favored in all their games. I'm like, what? What are we? And they've only lost one game. So he's, got them playing well. Jalen Whitlow was just saying, I don't believe in Kentucky. I still think Kentucky's got, better players, better talent. But right now, he says it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. Louisville's a better team. They're, playing better. You talk about identity. You talk about playing disciplined. You talk about winning one-score games in the fourth quarter where you find a way and they don't. And we haven't been finding ways. Louisville's been finding ways. And probably some games they should have lost. Virginia, Miami had them on the road, but they keep finding ways to win. So collectively, as a whole, they got their stuff together a lot more than we do. And good and well, he knows what the rivalry is about, being from Louisville. So he's going to have them ready to play. And like you said, it's going to be tough. And, as we don't have Satterfield over there who don't know what the rivalry is about anymore.
Yeah, and good for Louisville. I mean, good for them with their season. I do act like I do act, they're very dismissive of the last 5 years. Every time they go on a losing streak to Kentucky, it's always, well, so-and-so is the coach, so that doesn't count. Like, no.
Craigthorpe.
Yeah, y'all beat Craigthorpe and, I'm like, it still counts.
Well, y'all hired Craigthorpe.
It still counts. Like, we don't toss out the Billy G losses and, it is what it is, right?
The Tennessee fans won't do that with Pruitt. Y'all only wanted kneeling because we had Jerry Pruitt and Jerry Garantano at quarterback. Well, y'all put them in those positions.
And so there's that, right? So there's always that. I think it's funny, and I say this as a native Louisvillian, to act like there's a big divide line between Louisville and the rest of Kentucky. It was dumb when I was there. It's dumber now because once you get outside of it, we all the same, baby. Like, we all Kentuckians. Like, nobody outside that area has, like, it just is what it is. And then it gets a little ugly when, the assumption that there's only racism in the state of Kentucky, but not in Louisville. And I'm like, one, you need to sell it to somebody who's not from the city of Louisville. Two, you can't sell it to me, whose dad sued the city of Louisville for discrimination and won in the 1970s. You can't tell me there's no racism in the city of Louisville. So there's that. But, and that's why I wish it was just a rivalry, but it becomes, there's that nasty side to it as well. Of course, I want to beat Louisville's brains in. I want to throw L's down, but there's no need for the nasty stuff. No. I just want to have some good-natured ribbon with some of my Louisville friends.
Yeah,
because I'm like, hey, y'all catch this L.
It'll be just like the time when they beat Lamar. Had no business going over there winning, and was that 2016?
Yeah,
at Louisville, and whatever 30-point underdogs or whatever, you went over there and beat them. And, they're not 30-point underdogs this time, but the way they've been playing and the way Louisville's playing, it makes us both think, it's gonna be tough. You're going to have to play a lot better than we did in South Carolina if you're going to go try to beat Louisville at Louisville. So, here's what it is. And they could. And, we've been waiting to see 4 complete quarters all year.
And, Stoops has the, nobody believes in us.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes it feels like Stoops does better with the nobody believes in us.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sure they're showing that Steven Johnson, the Juice Johnson highlight over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, and that would be the mindset I would like to see. Look, lost South Carolina, that stuck, that was terrible. But this is what I know, fellas. They don't have a Lamar Jackson over there.
Right. Yep.
This is what we did against Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
The people in this room, we've got the talent to beat them.
Yeah.
We can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not where it used to be, you need that laundry list of things. We need to take care of business.
Go play.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for.
And with the discipline, like you said, just if we make a 15-yard pass play, let's not have a penalty to bring it back. Let's not have it all, penalties killing. Couldn't have started worse in South Carolina. Every good thing, penalty. And it just the worst possible time. It was all, it was always killing what momentum you was getting. It was just kind of just self-inflicted stuff. So get rid of that. And then, that's been holding you back all year. Go be better than them. Or, I still think you are. Like you said, good for them for being 10-1. Their schedule is what it is. It ain't the strongest. They beat who they played 10 out of 11 times. But just go put a good game together and you can beat them. Just gotta do it.
Yeah.
So we still waiting on our 7-footers. Still optimistic about how we think they're gonna fit. They look versatile and
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, the basketball team looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Again, no moral victories against Kansas, but they looked good.
Kansas got drugged. It was fun seeing Kansas get beat down by Marquette. That was fun. Dickinson still flopping all over the court. That was. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, look, the team's going to be fine. I keep saying this: if watching your team win doesn't fill you with joy, then maybe sports isn't for you. And that's not a Pollyanna view of things, but if your team winning brings you no joy, then why are you doing sports? Why are you doing this endeavor? Also, that being said,
you and your boy are gonna go at it again. Let's just go on. Let's go put that. Y'all ain't gonna make it all season.
The beauty of sports, and I've been talking to my wife about the beauty of sports is there's those moments where one, your team wins, or you see somebody do something that's pretty amazing, right? Like you see your favorite guy hit a home run, you're not worried about exit velocity and bat speed and all that kind of stuff. Like as a little kid, are you thinking about that? As when we were growing up, you're emulating Ken Griffey's swing. Are you thinking about his bat speed? Are you thinking about how cool it looks?
Mm-hmm.
That's what sports is. I just looked up the box scores for some great games. Do you remember the John Elway, the drive against Cleveland?
Yeah.
He completed barely 50% of his passes that game. Did you know that? I didn't know. That's a very inefficient game, but that's not what our takeaway was.
I felt bad for Cleveland. I was pulling for them.
And, I looked at Joe Montana's stat line and the game with the catch.
Let's see. Why you got to bring that up?
He had 3 interceptions in that game. Like, that's not great. But that's not the takeaway. Sports gives us these moments that aren't tied to numbers. And I tweeted that out. I don't know if you saw DJ Wagner sign that kid's cast.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is what sports is about. Like, that kid is going to remember this moment forever. And I had a dude respond to me. I didn't follow him. He didn't follow me. I looked. Well, GMs are looking for this kind of thing. One, you are not a damn GM. Like that is not you. Yes, I expect the front office of my favorite sports team to look at all that. But as a fan, one, that's not my job. Two, if I'm crunching the numbers, it doesn't make any difference. I want to tell folks, Coach Cal is not looking at what you write up about him and determining how to move things forward. That's not happening. Is Jerry Jones calling you up, Vinny, when it comes draft time? No. So why am I stressed about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with me?
Mm-hmm.
If I want to stress about numbers, I'm going to look at my family budget.
Mm.
If I want to worry about, I got to worry about, making sure the temperature stays in the right, because I want a big bill. There's plenty of stuff with numbers I got to worry about. Besides all this stuff with my favorite team. Did my team win? Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Kendra.
I mean, it sounds silly, but that to me that's the bare minimum.
Everybody.
They'll figure it out or they won't.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But me stressing about it ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
Hey.
And then there's this thing I see people, we barely won against
St. Joe's.
St. Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a good side moving forward. Vinny, do you remember the 2014-2015 Kentucky Wildcat that went 38-1?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good team, right?
It was, yes.
Do you remember they played UCLA?
Mm-hmm.
And at the half, it was 41-7. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A week later, Columbia of the Ivy League comes to Rupp Arena.
Uh-huh.
Kentucky only wins by 10. Columbia's up at half 25-23. That seems weird, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That seems pretty weird. Do you remember the 95-96 Kentucky Wildcats?
Yeah, I do.
The best collection of talent I've ever seen
Mm-hmm.
on a basketball team. Beat everybody by a lot. Except for, and I went to this game, Wisconsin Green Bay comes to town. Kentucky wins 74-62, and they had to win. They had to shoot free throws at the end to get it past double digits because Wisconsin Green Bay had a dude, Jeff Nordgaard, who went for 29 and 8. And the highlight in my mind about that game is he got an and one and shimmied in front of Antoine Walker. My point is this.
As he should have.
Yeah. My point is this. And I say it all the time. Go to bigbluehistory.net. They've got every box score going back to 1903.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a Final Four team. Pick a really good Kentucky team. And then just go to some November, December games. There are going to be closer games than you remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't beat everybody by 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
When people are like, I want to go back to the day we beat everybody by 20. That never happened. It never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or I wish we had all these top teams coming to Rupp Arena. That never happened. In the outer conference. Like I was going through most of the 80s and 90s, like it didn't happen. There would be rare things. Villanova came with Tim Thomas in 97. Like there, but
in our era, yeah.
In our, but there was never this run.
Yeah. Just, I mean, everybody want to get in a rush to just dissect it and over opinionate it or over saturate everybody with their opinion, like their coach, and give analysis because you got Twitter and
don't you remember when sports just used to be fun, man? Like it just used to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at a game against St. Joe's, like, oh, overtime, but that's a learning experience. Look how you look out there in crunch time and overtime. It's 4 freshmen and a transfer. Look at the big shots that Trey Mitchell hit.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the defense DJ Wagner did on that guard that was going crazy. Yeah, they gave up some back doors. You got a 7-footer that erases some of that stuff, but he played really good defense, right? Reed played well. I mean, on the defensive end, he kind of got lost on a couple of those threes. Okay, we didn't have a real discussion, about the good and the bad. So my concern is, get a big man back because that's necessary. We should not be getting out rebounded against St. Joe's. But get a big man back and let's see what happens.
Everything is accelerated, and whatever opinion people have, that's it. That's the final answer, as Regis used to say. Like we already seeing DJ a bust after 3 games. Oh, this dude is is it a problem? Is it a worry? Is it a concern? He's because he's not, a Hall of Famer already in the first 3 weeks of the season. Then people are already trying to worry about him or look at what's wrong with his game, or if he's doing this, he ain't what we thought. I mean, he's fine, man. Give him time.
And look, these kids are still 17, 18. And we going to be fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing about this team that's raising red flags right now. Hopefully get at least one of the big men back up to speed and playing, and you go from there. But meanwhile, the best team on campus is going for its 7th SEC championship in a row, which is obscene. Ain't nobody talking about it. I'm talking about the volleyball team. They right back. They got 2 big matchups this week. I know they end with Florida, and I think they're at Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken.
I think at Arkansas today.
Yeah, at Arkansas, and they finish up at home against Florida. So good luck to the Cats.
Yeah, and already, swept Florida. I think is in one of these 50-11 wins on this streak was at Florida, and it was. And it could have went either way, but Coach Skinner knew what he was doing. He scheduled a brutal pre-conference schedule, and they took lumps, they took L's, they were trying to figure it out. And, much like maybe this game against St. Joe's, you'll learn from it down the road, and it'll do you some good to go through that. And you won against St. Joe's, for that matter. They took a bunch of losses. They were at one point like 7-7. In the pre-conference, but he knew what he had. He knew when we get, everything situated, get my pieces in place, I'm gonna have a squad, and he does. Again, they're fine. All those lumps and stuff. He could have blew up in his face, and they could have splintered and went their own way and had a bad season. But that is not what happened. They rebounded and bounced back through all that. I think they played Nebraska out there after the record-setting 90,000 crowd game. So, yeah, that was a murderer's row of a schedule. But, hey, you prepped them for running through this SEC's gauntlet again.
Yeah, so everything's good. Football, I'm saying beat Louisville by 3.
It can happen. We've seen it before.
So give me that. Give me that, baby.
We have seen it before when they had Lamar Jackson over there. So, yeah, it is not out of the realm of possibility. Lakers are rolling again. They trying to get themselves out of the little funk they were in.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that too.
They got even against Houston. I'll go ahead and say it. Got by 1. All you got to do is win by 1. We 1 point more than the other team is all you need, and that's what y'all got. So we'll see y'all a couple more times. I'm still proud of these Rockets because we've been down these past few years. We've been so I like to fight. I like Ime getting them together. I like the blend of the old guys and young guys. I said it last week. Draymond, before he started choking Rudy, he even said the first time we played Golden State, he said, those, these ain't the same Rockets. They would have quit. We would have beat them by 30. And, they only won by 8 or 10 or whatever it was. He even noticed the difference. So it's what you want to see. You want to see fight. You want to see the young guys learn. You want to see stuff come together. They already got some good wins, and them beat Denver already. Beat your Lakers already. Playing tough with good teams. I like what I'm seeing from Ime and my Rockets. I got a big man they comparing him to Jokic. I ain't saying he is him, but he can play that way. He can be the center of the offense and put up points and assists and get triple doubles. And so they got some nice pieces down there. And so hope it keeps on coming together.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'll turn my attention fully later in the year when it comes to Lakers. I'm focused on the Niners.
True. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right now, we got a nice little run. All the bird teams, all the bird teams, starting off. We got the Seahawks, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Ravens over the next 5 games. So cook the birds is what we're saying.
Wow, no Falcons in there. The Falcons in 1-9.
Yeah, that's a weird little run there, but yeah. So tomorrow night we got the Seahawks in Seattle.
That's right. Nightcap for the Thursday. Yeah, that's right. We the middle game. We got Commanders. Like this is I don't know if there's a Detroit Lions history.net, but this gotta be the first Thanksgiving they've been good since when, TB? They always come on at 12 after the dog show, and they suck, and nobody really cares. I turn it on because it's football, and the poor little Lions fans, they be there.
That's a background. It's background noise.
Like, bless their hearts. Poor little Detroit fans. They show up and every year just to watch this product on the field get boat raced. But good for them. They got a good squad. And, I mean, there's probably some dudes up there doing a Lions podcast now. This is the first year we've been, when they put out the in the hunt graphics in the playoff picture, the Lions will actually be there and be in a good position for the first time in I don't know how many decades.
They're the 2 seed right now. My Niners got work to do, man. Now, that being said, I'm not worried about going into Ford Field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about that if it comes down to it. But again, I just want my team to be healthy. That's all I want is for it to be healthy. But hey, Chase Young's looking good.
Man, that's a.
You can.
I bet I hate y'all. I like that move. God.
And look, you can do that, and that's the point I'm trying to make. You can do this if you're not paying the quarterback. The math changes when you got to pay the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Purdy can be good on this rookie deal, milk it for all it's worth before you got to pay him, and you got to reallocate assets.
Yeah.
And as good as a 49ers draft, Kittle, late draft pick, Hufanga, other guys, I want to say outside of Bosa, there may not be a lot of first-round dudes on the team. Because they've been really, really good about that, especially, Purdy, last dude picked. So, look, I'm excited. Like, a lot of the naysayers, Purdy's our guy. So what else are we going to do?
Mm-hmm. Like this, Shaq Leonard for the Colts getting released. I don't know who's going to get him. He cleared waivers, but y'all making all these moves and getting all these nasty defenders. And I'm like, look, Jerry, bring him in, and look, Dan Quinn can make it work. Put him up, just plug him in so we can have another all-pro, on that side of the ball, and just try to, I say, get into an arms race with y'all and the Eagles, because the Eagles draft every defensive player out of Georgia. Y'all just added Chase Young. You already had Bosa. Already had Warner. I say get into an arms race with the Niners and the Eagles. I don't know if they will. I'm not a GM, so I don't have to study and make that decision.
I don't have to do the math on that one. Like I said, I got enough math in my daily life. I don't need to do that. But look, the 49ers, they're fun. I'm having a good time, and
Mm-hmm. Hey, the coach let him go, and Jim Irsay says he was profiled, so I don't know if whatever. But
your boy's been out here wild tweeting. I don't know if you've been seeing this today. He's talking about his black mom, his nanny. Like, somebody need to take his phone. He out here being wild.
She also so
somebody needs to take his phone.
So he's saying this was a Thomas Jefferson household. That's what he's saying.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, but there we go.
Wow.
But
I was speaking. One more thing about my Cowboys, and it wasn't. It wasn't as genuine as you. Well, it's as genuine as Jerry Jones can be. But Jimmy Johnson was in Charlotte. Cowboys just played in Charlotte. Last time they played in Charlotte, I was there, and they lost. So maybe that's why they won, because I wasn't there. Or maybe it's because Carolina's 1-8. But anyway, before the game, Jerry and Jimmy there, Fox studio cuts to them, and they talking and having a reunion. And long story short, what should have happened a long time ago is that Jerry lets Jimmy know that on December the 30th, they're going to finally put Jimmy in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. So this should have didn't happen. Like, we know some people that should have been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already, or should have been in the Hall of Fame, or whatever. December 30th, Jimmy finally gets his name up there where it should have been years ago. Should have been up in Texas Stadium. It shouldn't just now be going up in AT&T Stadium. But they was talking, and Jerry Jones can only be so sincere. That's just how he is. That's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying his best to be sincere, but it was still a little hokier than it should have been. But bottom line, congratulations to Jimmy Johnson for finally getting up in the Ring of Honor. How about them Cowboys? I'm glad to see this finally happen.
Good job. I like Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah,
I didn't like him back much in the 90s, but I like him now.
Yeah. I understand. And he don't even miss coaching, man. He's just so relaxed now, and he's even said I had to be a whole other person when I was coaching. Had to be such a hard because to do that, and he got his boats, and he does the studio, and he's just free, and it's a whole lot of get the stress out your life, like you said, and that's what he did. So good for him. So congrats to Jimmy Johnson. About time, Jerry.
Yeah,
I was always on Jimmy's side and all that mess. Just like Laker Nation, I'm sure had a Shaq and a Kobe side, and you got some. I was always on Jimmy's side with that. So glad to see you going in there, man. I think we hit it all. Like you said, Cats by 3 in Louisville. We hope that comes to pass. We'll talk about it next Wednesday. We got a game against the Fighting Marshall J.R. Van Hoos Thundering Herd on Friday.
Yeah.
See how the Cats look against JR's alma mater. We don't always get big names in Rupp. We get Miami coming soon. It's probably the best team in the ACC. They went to the Final Four last year, so
it's going to be a tough one.
Have a measuring stick game against them. Football, basketball, it's all rolling right along. You got your season coming up for the Iowa Hoops League. You and BJ Armstrong about to win that thing up there. So, and whoever else shows up to play, Marcus Pfizer, Terry Brown, and BJ Armstrong in the league coming up.
League, yeah. Just the old D1 league up here in Iowa, something like that.
There you go. So, man, we enjoyed getting on here doing this quick show right quick. Pre-Cats card show. Hope the Cats wear all blue, like you said. And
I hope.
We'll see what happens, man.
Absolutely.
Now you take the bargain off. Anyway.
Got a little hot sitting in my house.
But you and Katie and Sam and everybody, be safe, man. Enjoy your time off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll do it again next week.
That's it. We'll holler at y'all next week. Thanks to BS3 Network being served. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us on Twitter. Listen on Spotify. Whatever you want to do, subscribe. Check us all out. We'll be here next week. We'll see y'all then. Peace out, y'all.